There's that.
Dumped it though.
There's that forgiveness I'm talking about on this inside. That was intentional.
That was deliberate. That was deliberate.
Let's send her off with a good one here. Rolled pretty well. Ow. Called it. Swag's Fusion Hybrid is releasing on September 8th, which is right around the corner, as part of the second wave of the second batch since their rebranding. The original was one of the standouts for me from their initial relaunch offering, so expectations are high for this one. We are at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas on the Kegel Chromium Challenge pattern. The graph is linked in the description if you would like to see the pattern details. Now, if you don't understand layouts or core numbers and would like to, I do have some instructional videos linked in the description that explain and illustrate everything perfectly. The Fusion Hybrid is a straight-up hybrid version of the original, which was a solid. Symmetric Fusion core at a medium to medium-high 254 RG and a medium 036 differential, so fairly easy length out of the core and enough flare, but not a ton. The Explode Hybrid cover does come out of the box at 4000 grit. That surface wasn't enough for her on this pattern. She was still getting warmed up and wasn't throwing great shots, obviously, but it was also obvious that it wasn't going to work when she was ready to go, so she got a 500 pad out and hit it lightly, so not full-on hard 500, but it is dull now. Now remember, she typically favors a lot of surface on this pattern, and it typically looks good on much stronger balls for reference. The core is kind of in motive max thrill territory, but the cover formula is stronger, so it's kind of unique. Very much like a High Road Nano kind of idea if you go that far back, a little weaker than that, or perhaps closer to Rotogrip's original show-off, again if you go that far back, or a slightly stronger but smoother track Cypher for a more current comparison, but it is still above the max thrills and hustles of the world. Ultimately, what you get is a good amount of traction out of the cover for strength and stability, but without an also super strong core. There seems to be a sizable gap between something like a Cypher and a GB5 or a Stealth mode where you get medium strength covers and medium strength cores, and then the next option up is strong covers on strong cores. It's nice to have an option like this that's going to give you some traction, give you more traction than something like a Cypher, but without also rolling and revving up at your feet for when you're on maybe on older lane surfaces with a lot of oil on them, or for a first ball down in transition where there's still oil out there and you want more length without going to something that's going to be cleaner and more responsive. Angel wasn't super sharp out filming, and I think that the fresh on this pattern is a little too much for this ball. But again, a ball review is for placing a ball and figuring out where it fits, not making it look good. Everything hooks on a house shot, so that makes it almost impossible to tell how things stack up sometimes. But to be honest, it was kind of riding that line between smooth and pukey. The shape is kind of a climbing arc with a bit of a tumble to it. It does want to be continuous, it just needs a little extra time to rev up. On the shots, she rolls nice and easy off her hand, it picks up and drives, but if she gets too firm with it or gets her hand too far around the side of it, it doesn't quite wind up. I had a similar issue with my Ethos Solid up front too. It took me a little longer to figure out where it fit and what it wanted to do because it was both weaker and smoother than I expected, and the jury will still be out to a certain degree for this one until she gets it out in League. She did have a similar situation with the Apex Pearl. It wasn't quite enough for her on this pattern, and it hung in there, but it looked kind of mediocre, but it's been really good for her in League, so while I think it will be able to handle fresh League conditions, it's going to need some transition on heavier, longer patterns. And again, this is still ultimately a more medium strength ball. You wouldn't hit a 9-iron on a 200-yard par 3 unless you're Bryson DeChambeau. So if you just let this ball do what it's designed to do, you should be in good shape. It should really excel at shorter, flatter patterns because it's going to get traction up front but then really control the back end. So if you're a two-hander or a more competitive bowler looking for a non-urethane option for shorter and tougher stuff, look no further. I made the comment in the Black Dragon Pearl video that swag balls just lean more the motive direction anyway. They're on the smoother side, so I think that's important context for the balls themselves and just for watching video. Now, I feel like I have to go out of my way to defend smoother balls sometimes because people, for some reason, always equate back-end reaction with quality. If a ball doesn't turn sideways down lane, people aren't impressed and they want to trash it. To be fair and not be a bowler's Mart shill though, there are a good handful of shots in here that I thought were better than the result. I thought some of these should have had a little more conviction, but they labored, so I think it's pretty obvious that this isn't going to be a wheel and deal kind of ball unless you have a higher rev rate. You might take a look at Hutch's video from the hype. It boomed more down lane and cover boards quite a bit easier for him, but generally speaking, I think it's going to be more of a down and in or a small swing type of ball for the average league bowler. Segueing right into bowler types, I think the higher of a rev rate you have, the better off you're going to be with this one. I think it does fit much better as a control ball for higher power bowlers than it does for somebody like Angel, who needs a little more help out of the ball, especially on a condition like this. But like the Apex Pearl, I'm expecting this one to be a great down and in ball for her in league, where there's a little more friction, especially to the outside. So this would also be a great option to blend extreme cliffs in league, or to be able to keep the ball in front of you. A lot of straighter bowlers have issues with balls being too jumpy and forcing them inside, but then not being enough when they move in. This is one you'll be able to walk right down the side, so I think it can be successful for a lot of different bowler types, but I don't think it's quite a plug-and-play, grip-it-and-rip-it league killer. I think there are better options for that. This is going to be more of a bailout, garbage time kind of ball that saves your ass when nothing else is working, or that fits a more specific need. At 140 on Bowler's Mart, very competitive price. It's kind of right where it should be. It's right there with the Ciphers, Venom Shock, so on and so forth. It's not quite the kind of deal that I think the Black Dragon line is, but it's definitely not overpriced. We also have something awesome to debut here as well, a collection from CoolWick benefiting the local rescue that we support and fundraise for, which is Positive Tales KC. Every year we do a fundraiser and giveaway for Positive Tales in December, but CoolWick reached out and offered to help all year round by creating an apparel line. We have jerseys and t-shirts and even tank tops, with $5 per tank or t-shirt and $15 per jersey going to the rescue. More info will be coming soon in its own dedicated video, but Angel is wearing one of the designs here, and I feature another colorway in upcoming videos as well. Just follow the link in the description to the collection if you're interested. Any support is greatly appreciated. Discount codes will not work on these items, of course. They're for charity, so we wanted to make sure the rescue gets as much as possible. Make sure, of course, to check the description for the other things you see every video, Nexus backpack and journal, email address for the handcrafted items made from bowling balls, and of course the line of Genesis accessories that I've been using, plus Epic's new Evo 2D dual dial high performance shoes are available now as well, and I'll be using those in the Black Dragon Pearl review, which I've already put up. This is a higher 4-ball to, I don't think it's quite up into 3-ball territory, but I do believe that I said that the Max Thrill Hybrid was a 4-ball. They've got similar strength cores, but the cover on this one is stronger, so it's even if they do land both in 4-ball territory, this would be on the high end of that, and the Max Thrill would be more on the lower end of that. But it's not up into stronger symmetric ball territory with the GB5s and the Phase 2s of the world. It's a smoother ball that I think will be most successful for heavier hands or more direct bowlers, and better in tougher situations. I think there are better scoring options for when the conditions are softer, but when things get rough, this one should be a godsend. This one gets a solid B because I think it's more of a niche release. I don't think it's the super versatile league killer that anyone can put holes in and go nuts with, but it does have a very defined and obvious use. Hutch, I think, would beg to differ. That's about the best I've ever seen a ball look for him, but he's also got a higher rev game and it has a little bit more friction to work with, so I definitely recommend watching his video as well to get a more well-rounded look at this one. I tried something different with the live comm, and I don't really think it worked out, but we did have some moments if you want to check that out and get some in-the-moment thoughts as well as a different camera angle. As always, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below.
I think just try shaping it a little bit, because you're being a little firm with it and kind of getting around the side of it, so it's just not having a chance to pick up and get into any kind of a roll.
How much shape? How much do you want?
I would say just stand where you're standing right now. Just give a little bit more, just roll it a little, just kind of slow roll it a little bit more.
Okay.
So I think it'll pick up and move as long as it has time to do something. better. Some really weird pin action.
Yeah.
I think we're getting closer.
Yes.
And that might be the surface probably needs to settle back in too. Anytime you add surface.
Well, and I could, like, if for chromium, I could see if it was an actual tournament or something, I just wouldn't start with this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure going to take this on Friday.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is it's time for the best conditions and situation for the ball. Talk about after the shot. A whole lot better. There we go.
That one I liked.
Yeah, that was a whole lot better. A lot better tempo. So the best conditions and situation for this ball is going to be obviously probably not on the fresh, not on something this heavy and or long. Again, it's north of 25 mils, which is getting into medium heavy territory, and it's 42 feet long. And so this ball, even with a little bit of surface, it's more of an HP2 line ball. It's more of a hype type of ball. It's not built for the fresh on a condition like this. So it's probably going to like some kind of transition and more medium conditions. Just kind of lofted. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that especially if you have a lower to medium rev rate, you're going to need more friction for this ball. It is something that is going to be a step down from the Swag's Apex line or the Unreal line. That's better. Okay. So see, if she gets the ball down earlier, I think it's just the loft and getting around the side of it or throwing a little bit too hard. Again, it is kind of a high road type of ball. Again, high road hyped. At that RG and that differential, it's going to get down the lane, and then it doesn't have a whole ton of flare. It does flare, but it's more of a medium. It's more of a light to medium type of ball. So it's going to need, if you've ever thrown a high road or a hype or something, you know it needs a little bit of time to kind of wind up and get going. It does seem to be on the smoother side too. So whenever people want to talk about how much forgiveness does a ball have, I think it's fairly mathematical when it comes to that. I think obviously this ball is going to be a whole lot more forgiving on misses inside, and I think that's the thing with smoother versus more responsive balls. The smoother balls are going to let you get away with misses inside more than misses outside, because most of the time they're a little too smooth to cover those big angles and get back, cover a bunch of boards later down lane. But the more responsive balls are going to be less forgiving inside. So this one she can kind of just keep a little closer to the pocket and keep a tighter line on it. Whereas if she gives it a little bit too much room or throws it too hard, I think that's the other thing where as far as where it likes to play, it's going to probably prefer straighter angles unless you have a bigger rev rate. If you have a bigger rev rate, again, go watch Hutch with the Hype. Watch his video. It looked ridiculous for him, and obviously without the kind of rev rate, it is kind of a weaker and smoother ball. It's a pretty good shot too.
Oh, woo!
Good time to pick up there. There we go. Sometimes it just takes a minute to figure something out.
This video was brought to you by Panda Bear Productions. We put the in bowling.